Honoring God with your body is, in my opinion, more of the being original. You know, it says in verse 2 of Romans, you know, don't copy the behavior and the customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. That could be physically, that could be mentally, that could be any sort of stuff out there. You know, like with me, I've always been one of those that no matter what type of pain I'm in, I just try and power through it. And it's been really, really tough to actually sit back and try and let my body heal. And ask everybody else around here. I'm pretty sure that I'm a royal pain in the rear at times.
But we love you.
But it's also about transforming the way you think. If you look in the mirror on a regular basis and can't find something that you like about yourself, that's dishonoring God as much as, you know, going out and smoking or something to that effect.
I agree with both of you on that. I was thinking, you know, as you were talking about honoring, how you honor God with your person, I was thinking you set an example to other people. And if you're going out saying, oh, I love God, it's not exactly showing a good example. And, you know, granted, you know, Annie and I are heavy, but, you know, we had the Biggest Loser just this last week, I think it was. We had the Biggest Loser last weigh-in, and we had their dinner and everything. They had this big old dinner thing, sandwiches and stuff like that, you know, drinks. Anyway, they've known me. This is my fourth Biggest Loser. Third Biggest Loser.
They've only done it for 4 years.
That's right. They've been doing it for 4 years. This is my third time going around. And I went in the first year, and they told me how to do stuff, which I thought they were absolutely nuts. I lost 30 pounds. The next year I went in, different group of people in charge with a different group of rules and what you're supposed to do. I followed them, gained 30 pounds. And
Bum, bum, bum.
and then this last year, I got hit by a car. And as frustrated as I was with all of it and the pain that I was in, I still went to that gym and worked out. I tried to follow everything I was supposed to do. And I was getting frustrated because I gained 20 pounds since I've been hit. And I was just beside myself in tears, like, is this weight ever going to come off? And believe it or not, I got so freaking excited when I stood on that scale for the last time for this year, for this season, to find out that I had lost 4 pounds. And you don't know how excited I was because I worked so hard for that. And I wanted to be an example for Annie, and she's been trying hard. She's been having little issues lately, but, you know, the doctor gives her medication and you put on weight, you know, and that's kind of my problem. And, but, you know, what I thought was funny is when I was, you know, everybody got a chance to get up and talk a little bit at the luncheon, and I got up and I told my story and stuff like that. And this is granted, I only lost 4 pounds. It wasn't like, you know, the dozen pounds that someone else lost, you know. And my thing was what got me is how all the people who worked at the gym said, yeah, we know her. She's here like every day. She works out all the time. If she's not here, we know there's something wrong. So, you know, it sets an example, you know, when I go in, that I really do try hard. And even though I got problems in my life, you know, people can see where I'm coming from and where my heart is.
That's kind of where Firelight is, Mom, is as the executive director of Firelight, it's one of our things that we talked about when we first started it was we believe that there is only one perfect Christian. And yeah, there's days where I'm stomping around the house or even the church swearing up a storm. But you know what? I also know when to admit I'm wrong. We won't go back to a specific day, but there was a day recently that I just looked at everybody and said, I know I'm being just let me be. Because it's sometimes, no matter what you do, you may be a Christian and sometimes the devil just hits you with everything in the world. And it was pretty close that day that I had gotten hit with just about everything in the world that day. But you know what? I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm still conscious. I'm still breathing. I kind of like what Romans chapter 12 verse 20 says. It says, instead, if your enemies are hungry, feed them. If they are thirsty, give them something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals of shame on their heads. You know, it's do the best you can. Don't go to bed at night with any regrets. You know, if you go to bed at night with a regret, then you're sinning, because one of the biggest things that I was taught was being a Christian means no regrets about what you've done. Because everything that you did before you became a Christian is gone.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've been taught that going to bed, don't go to bed angry. Not so much as regrets. You know, it's like I had a bad day and I got mad at Dad, or I chewed Dave out, or I did something to Annie. Poor Parker, I didn't fix his foot right.
You throw a phone.
Yeah, one of those things. It's you have regrets and you stop and you think about them and you realize I need to fix that, you know. And in that aspect, having a regret is not bad. Dwelling on it all the time is bad. Thinking, you know, I did this 5 years ago, and oh my gosh, I almost bet if you did something to somebody 5 years ago and you go up and talk to them and say, oh, you know, I'm really sorry, they're going to say, about what? You know, because they probably don't remember.
Unless you really pissed them off.
Yeah, then there's a few things I'm sure my family would remember, but it's one of those, you know, you just try to correct your path, you know, and that's the biggest part. So, what are some examples of dishonoring God with your body? There is such a list. You know, the way you dress. You know, I see these girls that wear these little dinky bikinis and show off everything they got. You know, the alcohol, drinking, drugs, whatever. But a lot of times language, you know, I'm trying to preach the Word of God, and I'm cussing up a storm in the middle of church, and I've kind of gotten after somebody for that.
Like I said, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, but, you know, we're to set an example. And when we go around acting like we're all that, we're not. Saw a movie last night. Granted, it had to do with the Greek gods. It was the Titans. And this woman, I guess she was empress or, you know, some big person in the city. And she started going on about how the gods need us, and we're just so wonderful, and they would not survive without us, and so we're better than they are, and so we are like gods. And it's like all hell broke loose. I mean, you know, the people were dying, they were being thrown everywhere, and you just don't mess with that. You know, we're supposed to set an example of God. We're not supposed to be God. You know, God created us, and for that we should be thankful. He's helped us, and we need to set an example of what His people are.